We're now continuing with our intolerance diet. So we're doing a gluten-free pasta with a tomato and basil sauce. So we're actually going to be making our pasta from scratch using our gluten-free flour, which we have here. So we have our gluten-free flour, we have our couple of eggs that I've mixed up, our water and our vegetable oil ready to make our pasta. We then have our tomato sauce all weighed up ready to go using our tomatoes, our olive oil, our white wine, our crushed tomatoes, our garlic, our chilli and our onion, and we have that beautiful leaves of basil that can also go in as it's cooking, and we can finish it off in the end when we actually blend that up too. Our filling for our ravioli is also going to be feta with our fresh chives, our parmesan and a little bit of cream just to bind that together. And then we've got our grated mozzarella to put over the top. Now, if you remember doing your eggs and farinaceous lesson, you would remember that we did a gnocchi dish where we actually put the tomato sauce on the bottom of our 4 trays and then put the gnocchi in and baked it through the oven. So this is going to be very similar to that, except it's going to be a gluten-free ravioli. So refer back to those memories of that lesson, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing now. So let's actually make our pasta. Let's get our gluten-free flour and our eggs, all mix it in with some water and then our vegetable oil. Now, if you do have a mixer at home, this is a perfect opportunity to be able to make this dough really fast and on a machine, which is a lot easier than doing it by hand. But just in case you haven't, we'll be showing you by hand. But obviously this can all be put on a machine and brought together. We were talking earlier as well about our gluten-free pasta. It hasn't got the same structure as making it normally using our normal strong flour. So we are finding that using this on a pasta machine will be quite difficult. So we're going to be hand rolling this today with a rolling pin. So the good old-fashioned way. As you can see, even by the flour here, it's nowhere near structured as using our strong flour that you might have done in your pasta lesson for eggs and farinaceous. So I've just added a little bit more water to that. You don't want it too wet. As soon as you can start to bind that, you can start to use your hand just to bring that together in the bowl.
What are you looking for here, Claire, when you're feeling that? It's a little bit moist, is it?
Yeah, I don't want it to be that you can't pick all the ingredients off the bowl. Can you see that? So we're actually not needing to really do too much kneading either, because remember there's no gluten in this, so there's no structure, so you don't actually need to be kneading it for too long, because you're not actually going to find that the gluten's going to react, so it isn't any.
You're just bringing it together.
Yeah, and that would be perfect. So we can put that to one side now. Just wrap it in Glad Wrap, everybody, because you'll find that it will form a skin, and then it makes it a little bit harder to roll out. But there you go, that's our gluten-free pasta dough ready to go. We're now going to make our tomato sauce ready to go with our gluten-free ravioli. We've got some beautiful olive oil that we're going to go with. Make sure you have all your mise en place ready before you start this cooking. Always practicing your knife skills as you're going along. So we have our onion, our chilli and our garlic, which we're going to fry off first. All of you should remember how to make a tomato sauce. We've made it quite a few times now in different lessons. So this should come second nature to you now. This one is a little bit different from ones you might have done in the past, because we actually are using white wine, where some recipes we've actually used a red wine. I prefer red wine, to be honest. I think it has a deeper flavour. As long as you're using one of them just to dice your pan as we finish cooking. Already there's a beautiful smell coming from that. We need smell can.
We do need smell can.
So while that's cooking off, we're going to our basil. We can hold back in a few leaves to put at the end, and then we can use our blender just to finish our sauce off as well.
So most of the chefs would have, like you say, made the tomato sauce. So in terms of a blender, a stick blender, an upright blender, even if they don't have a blender,
yeah, it would still work.
it would still work, wouldn't it, with that lovely rustic kind of sauce that you can have
so
with
you
it.
can see that we've actually got that beautiful garlic and everything transparent now, so it's all beautifully cooked, and we can add in our tomatoes. Don't put this all in one together. Make sure you're cooking each an individual element. You'll get a better end product by not rushing. The ripened tomatoes are nice here it is, so normally Roma tomatoes would be a good option for this, rather than our salad tomato, which doesn't have as much flavour. But because we're using more of a salad tomato today, and it doesn't have that sweetness, I will be adding a little pinch of sugar, as well as our salt and pepper when we're actually cooking this today, and that will help us balance that flavour. Remember, there's lots of hidden sugars our chefs like to use in our recipes, which make things taste so much better. So we're going to make sure that tomato is cooked off, sweat it off before we add the other ingredients in. There's nothing soft in this as well. Put in some tomato paste in this recipe if you want it to be a little bit thicker. And that chilli is really going to give us that little bit of an element to the back there too, as we're actually cooking this. So it's nice to have a little bit of chilli, because it's that little Italian style flavours too.
Claire, can I ask, with the filling for that ravioli, just while that's cooking down, what have you got in your little bowl here? Is that a ricotta or something, or a feta? What have you got there?
Yes, we went through this as our ingredients at the beginning. So we have our feta, we have our parmesan, and we have
Did you
our
grate or crumble that feta?
Yeah, I literally just crumbled it up in my fingertips rather than chopping it all up. You don't need to be doing that. And now we've got that beautiful tomato.
Yeah, it does smell good. You can smell it now.
We need smell now, don't we? We can add our crushed tomatoes and our white wine. Make sure you cook out that white wine so you don't get that really bitterness coming through your sauce. Maybe just bring the heat up a little bit now and just bring that to more of a simmer. Cracked pepper would be really nice if you've got that at home with you. You can add that. I think it would be a great seasoning element rather than just using our ground white pepper. And we can get a few leaves of basil ready to go in. It's that tomato and basil flavour.
So if you didn't have a deep pot like that, you'd just do it in like a shallow pan or something?
I mean, like you say, this is obviously getting to the stage where, you know, you can see how much we've used in our medium-sized pot here at Take, but there's nothing stopping you using a slightly smaller one too. So when it comes to our filling, we can just mix everything together. Just a little bit of cream will help us bind that filling that we're going to use in the centre of our ravioli. So this is just whipping cream. I'm going to add some salt and pepper as well, so remember to season everything as you go. Just want to be able to make sure that that becomes a mixture that will hold quite well in our pasta.
I mean, that's the key, isn't it? Sometimes the cooking is to each layer of the ingredients that you're adding, you can just season and check it and taste it.
Definitely, so important. Every element of this is important to make sure you've got salt in your pasta as you're making the gluten-free pasta, to seasoning of the filling, to seasoning of the sauce, so it all comes together at the end. So that's perfect. You can see that it's just holding itself. Don't add too much. We don't want it actually flooding out of the ravioli. We still want to make sure it's quite firm when it's baked through the oven. We've also got our grated mozzarella ready to be sprinkled over the top of the finished dish. Right, now we're actually going to assemble our ravioli ready to put with our tomato sauce. I have egg wash ready as well, that's going to help us put the two pieces of pasta together. Now obviously if you don't have round cutters at home, you can quite easily cut them into squares with your knife and easily put one layer on top of the other. So don't stress too much if you don't have your cutters. Remember, ravioli can also be square as well as the round. So I've already rolled out the pasta, just using your rolling pin, yeah, and cut those out, ready to go. So here we are, we've got 3 portions of ravioli that we can sit on top of our tomatoes. But let's put a little bit of our filling on the top.
So that's about like a teaspoon in there,
Yeah.
Claire. With
Don't want to overfill them. And our egg wash will bind it together. Egg white actually does work too.
So with this method of baking it, are we doing that, I guess, because it's gluten-free and the texture's a bit different? Could we boil that? We probably couldn't boil it like we would do with a traditional ravioli, could we?
No, it doesn't have so much structure as it does using normal flour, especially strong flour for a pasta. So this is a lot easier doing it this way, simply because we don't really want to have it all broken up. You can also use an upside down cutter as well. Just do a little imprint if you have a selection of colours at home, but if not, that's okay. We're going to pop those on top of our tomato sauce.
Could you just do this in like a tray, like a ceramic tray, if you didn't have any, like if you're doing bulk for the family, just do like tomato sauce in a ceramic tray for 4 portions or something?
If you've got someone in the family that's gluten-free, there's nothing stopping us at all to have these prepared on a tray with gluten-free flour and actually have them in the freezer, freeze them down, and then take them off the tray and actually have them in bags.
Yeah, good idea.
So anyone that's obviously has someone that has a gluten-free problem, there's always ways of getting around it to have things pre-prepared, so we're not rushing around trying to prepare gluten-free food. In the industry, I certainly would have these ready in the freezer, and if I had a guest sit down that wanted a gluten-free meal, then I could certainly just go straight to the freezer and grab them out. So we just put in our grated mozzarella as a little finish on top of our gluten-free pasta there, and then that can go through the oven. I'm actually going to put that oven around about, we've got 170 degrees for this one, so just make sure you preheat the oven as well, and that can go in. And the gluten-free pasta will cook really beautifully with that tomato sauce. We'll have a nice crispy baked effect on top with the mozzarella cheese. Okay, so we've now just taken our gluten-free ravioli out of the oven, and you can see that the mozzarella is just beautifully on the top there, that's finished off. And I've got my little bit of basil just to finish off for a garnish, and I've served it just on a plate there, but you can see that is our baked gluten-free ravioli with our tomato and basil sauce.